with chores, like Dave says, household chores. Oh, Dave, you're probably excited today because the stock market, I think, went up about 1,400 points. You're probably a rich man again. Not that you weren't already. So anyway, enough of that. Back to net, KD7QKU.
QKU, thanks for that. Let's go to Lee, N7KC in Port Angeles.
Okay, very good. This is Lee, N7KC in Port Angeles. Good evening, all. I see we have 87MP Carlos. I haven't met Carlos before. Nice to meet you. Listen, I'm looking for the live stream on YouTube, and I don't see it tonight. Is it? Anybody got it live? Anyway, I'll ask that question and then send it back to you, Dave. N7KC, Lee, Port Angeles.
N7KC, thanks for that. Let's go to Bob, K9BQ. Can you answer if we're streaming or not?
Hey, Dave. Yeah, I just started streaming. If it's a little delayed, Lee might see it in a few more seconds. He should see it by now, I would think. Maybe refresh your page, refresh your YouTube. It had not started, so it's been going now for 1 minute and 38 seconds. So I think you should see it by now. I'll send it back to you, Dave. K9PQ.
K9PQ, thanks for that. Well, let's go back to Lee, N7KC.
Okay, Lee here again, N7KC in Port Angeles. Yeah, thanks, Bob. I've got it now, and it looks good. Yeah, good show. Everybody's getting new equipment over there. It's all looking real nice, and Mr. Wade has the honors, I think. Anyway, I'm just here to kind of get caught up and watch. So I'll send it back to you, Dave. N7KC, Lee, Port Angeles.
N7KC, thanks for that. Now let's go to Bob, K9BQ.
Hey, guys. Well, I'm at home, as you can see, not in the car where I want to be. Unfortunately, my reaction to the drugs is keeping me home again. I'll just leave it at that. But I hope very soon to be out and going mobile and transmitting from Magnus, and I'm very excited about being able to get back on the air with the repeater, as I did with one quick test during the day, I forget, on a weekday, I think, with Wade's help. And so I'm ready to get doing my nets from there. What else is going on? Let's see. I can't think of a whole lot. I mean, there's a lot of excitement that Lee and Carlos have been following on Discord. They've been experimenting with lower cost dongles and having success. So that's all really exciting. And I'm sure they'll have a lot more to say about that. But I just wanted to say I've been really very happy to see that happening. It's just exciting times for us. There's new stuff happening all the time. Okay, I'll send it back. K9PQ.
K9PQ, thanks for that. Well, let's go down to Arizona and pick up Richard, K7ITX.
Okay, well, sorry for the delay, you guys, but I think you can hear me okay? Is that a fair statement? Oh, man, okay, good. Well, we just really had some spectacular weather today. I mean, geez, it just doesn't get any better. Right around
went. Then I had physical therapy, outpatient therapy, and of course the instructor wasn't very impressed. He says I need to be walking at a minimum a half a mile a day, every day, no matter how crappy I feel. Well, okay, because I do have those days when I don't feel like doing anything. So anyway, that was kind of a fun thing to do today. And then, but this was extra special. I don't know. I'm going to wait to see if this shows up on YouTube. I hit share screen, and I don't see anything yet. Let's see. I'll count to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, I don't know then. I guess I don't know what I'm doing. No, okay. I hit share screen, but that's a bummer. Maybe someone will give me a clue on how to do it. What I have, and maybe I'm sharing and I don't realize it, I don't know. Stop sharing. Okay, how do I get back? How'd the stream go? Uh-oh. Oh no! Did I sign out? I'll just put a sad face. Skip this. Okay. Well, anyway, what I was trying to show you is a new car that we bought. God dang it! It's a Mercedes GT car shipping from Germany. We raced it in Portland a couple weeks ago in an 8-hour endurance, and we did so good we decided to buy one. It wasn't our car that we were driving, and we came within a second of the Portland PIR track record, if you can believe that. So I don't know. We must be made of money. That's the only thing I can think of. It's on a ship. It's on its way. So I'm pretty excited. That's the big news. And so I've just got to get healthy. And I'm determined to go to Sonoma race in March, early April. I'm just absolutely. But I got to be getting better. I got to be getting around better than I am right now. So let's just cross our fingers. K7ITS, back to net control.
W7ITX, thanks for that. Let's go to Wade, W7ITL.
Here I am. Let's see if it'll stabilize. Yep, there we go. Yeah, so today is I was doing some experimenting with a preamp with Ron, and we got about a plus 20 dB gain on his signal, which significantly increased his signal performance, and he was able to get a pretty strong signal. I think I'm also going to try to see if it works with SDR and use it as a preamp for my SDR when I get it back, and see if we can get maybe the Libre SDR to work as a transmitter. Let's see. Yeah, I'm excited to see Dave tonight on the net now that he's got his gear. I'm going to be really excited when we get a couple more folks that can at least receive. I think James, he's got a pretty good signal pass, so if we get one of those cheap SDRs at over his house, I think we're going to be doing real good for him. And I might have a spare transmitter he can use for a little bit, because I got Bert's transmitter back a couple weeks ago, and it works really good. It's actually the one I'm using right now. It's really stable. I think they tuned it, and they put a new fan in it, so it's really quiet compared to it was before. Let's see. Yeah, we've been doing some testing in the testing channel, and the cheap SDR was working really good in Linux. There's a couple that might be working with Windows, so I'm going to be testing those too, because I think that would really help folks that maybe not have a Linux or IT background to understand how to set those up. So
Yeah, I think that's it for this round. And you might see on my other side of the desk, I got an old computer here. It's a Mac Macintosh Plus. They got Load Runner running on it. So yeah, that's what I got for this round. I'll catch you guys later on the next round.
7ITL, Wade, thanks with that. And get an ID here again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. Let's go to Jim, N7QO in Covington.
N7QO. Thank you, Dave. Good evening, everyone. Well, Ron, you're still being a nurse. That's going to be a while still. Sounds like Joanna's recovering anyway. That's good. Good to hear that. Hope she continues along that same path. And let us know what's going on with Lily. Is she okay, or what's going on there? And preamp, I don't know. I have a preamp at my location, which I got, I don't know, maybe I got it in like 2002 or maybe 2003, and it worked extremely well when we were doing analog television. And then Wade came over to my place, and we got a truly outstanding signal. And probably part of that can be attributed to the preamp. The one which I got was produced by a company called Down East Microwave, but I don't think they're in business anymore, so I don't know what to make of that. Maybe there's something on the used market that would work from that company anyway, if you can't find anything else. But I have been in hotels all over the place, and during a nasty storm, they have lost satellite reception. So I'm not sure how robust this DVB-T is compared to whatever commercial systems were in operation, but at least the hotels lost commercial satellite systems during a nasty rain shower. So I'm not sure if the preamp would work miracles or not, but it certainly couldn't help with an extra 20 dBs. So let's see. Bob, sorry about your medical issues. I know you're probably going to be going through them for a while. And Jim, I know you've got some problems. I hope they have gone away by now, but maybe not. And Dick, it's good to hear you. Glad you're enjoying the weather there. FYI, we have nice weather here today, and supposedly tomorrow and Friday, at least most of Friday, we're supposed to have good weather here as well back home. It's encouraging to hear that your doctor wants you to do more walking. I think that's a good sign. And new race car. It sounds like a screamer. That's good. Wade, someone mentioned that you texted pictures of when you took the picture of my picture at your house, or at my house. I did not get that. Any chance you could email that to me, please? If you tried to send it to the phone number you have on file, that's my house phone, because my cell phone does not work all that well here at the house. And in fact, when you and I were up in the attic, I remember you saying you had one bar, and that was up in the attic. So anyway, my house phone does not do texting, so if you get a chance, could you email that to me, please? I would appreciate that. And let's see. Back to you, Dave, and 7QO.
N7QO, thanks for that. And it's again another ID. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. Let's go to James, WU7N in Northeast Bellevue.
Dave, this is James, WU7N, Northeast Bellevue. Glad to see everybody tonight, and glad to hear we continue to make progress in the digitization project. That's wonderful. Well, my goodness, Ron, Joanne, a cast on one leg and a arm in her sling. She looks like one of those commercials from the 1970s about trying to wear your seatbelt. Remember those? Please give her the best. I hope she continues to heal quickly. Well, Wade talked a little bit about dongles, but that is quite a breakthrough. Let's give full credit to Wade for finding that, because your price point for receiving the digital ATV signal straight off Cougar Mountain now has dropped hugely. I mean, if you can do it with a Linux machine and a dongle, and maybe a preamp if needed, that is a huge leap over the previous four figures. So that's something we'll all need to think about, because I think we could get a lot more participation in the club, so we need to think about how we'll manage that. You make me smile. I mean, I know there's still plenty of money in America somewhere if the group that sponsors that race car can afford to buy a race car overseas and ship it over here. That's really bucking the trend. I hear that in Washington State the trend is to steal everyone's car and ship them to Africa. So you might want to keep your eye on that one. Seriously, yeah, it's fun with statistics. The percentage increase in car thefts in the three-county area, there's somewhere down, the gang is obviously working somewhere out of the Tacoma area, it just skyrocketed because there really weren't that many car thefts before, but now they're stealing cars. So if you do it as a statistical before and after comparison, it's a huge percentage increase over a small accounting period. Continue to heal. Yeah, I kind of recovered from, while I had COVID, I couldn't do anything, and so I'm starting to do exercises again, and I found it's sore muscles. I don't think Carlos heard me whine about having to paint my deck railing in one day. I had one day to do it because the rains were going to close in, and I couldn't get out of bed the next day. You know, it was constantly jumping up and down on a ladder, and I only had the 1 gallon can, which I had to leave on the ground. I didn't want to try and balance that on the ladder. Oh my goodness, those are just muscles I don't normally use, and maybe I should start. So hopefully, if things stay stable on the public health front, I'll get back into a gym. I really do miss that. It's just a way to get out of the house and get some exercise. And so something to think about, Richard. I mean, if you can find a gym somewhere around, those sometimes are good places if it doesn't present other hazards to you. In Covington, my carrier is AT&T, and they have a system where my cell phone it sniffs at my Wi-Fi and sees if it can use the Wi-Fi to get a cellular signal out. I don't know incoming if it does it or not, but it's obviously taken off in Bellevue here because I remember the beginning part of COVID. I have a friend a mile away, but just really in a cell phone tough spot, and everybody was always out in the evenings that first spring and summer of 2020 waving their cell phones in the air and doing what I call the cell phone ballet. That's when you have lots of people up and down the street, and they're all waving the phone around and doing little minuets and twirlies in the middle of the street. So they obviously have made an improvement here, because if you're sitting at home, you have perfectly good Wi-Fi. I don't understand why you should have to use a cell phone tower. So that's something you might want to look into. I'll say this is James, WW7N in Northeast Bellevue, and turn it back to our net control for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. Take it away, Dave.
WW7N, thanks for that. Here, I'm going to see if I can fire up a transmitter and see what happens. And there it is. Oh my gosh. You know, this does make ATV a lot more exciting to see pictures and see what's happening on the air. For me today, oh gosh, I was up late last night watching television, but I did get around to getting a little bit of a nap this afternoon, and I got off to Costco. It was time to get some grub, and when I got to Costco, they had their chili back up in the meat section area. That's their own house brand of chili, and I got one of those. That's really great, and I had to get a chicken naturally. And before I left, it was always the hot dog. Got to do the hot dog, so did that and got a drink. But here at home, I had to get rid of a bunch of leaves in my driveway. Boy, I've got a maple tree that filled up one of those 90-gallon recycle containers for yard waste with the leaves just in the driveway. Well, while I was up and doing that, I listened to the weather forecast. We're starting to get into the winter weather down around the 30s. So I got those protective cups that go over on the outside faucets of the house, one in the front and one in the back, and got those secured. And so hopefully I'll be protected again now this winter again for freezing. So I got that out of the way. So that's pretty much what's happening. This is Dave, KD7CYM in Lake City, and I've got 45 degrees outside and cloudy. So at that, I'm going to turn it back and welcome Carlos, 87NP.
Sounds good. This is 87NP Carlos. Let me see if I'm able to get to the repeater. Seems like I can.
Seems like I can.
And I can see myself.
And I can see myself.
So I think things are working.
Things are working.
Good evening to everyone. Good to see you all again. I was traveling abroad for a couple of weeks. I was in Spain, but I escaped the rain. And then I got to Munich and then London. So lots of traveling. But then I did got back and I was able to get this up and running with the Wade's help. And still subject to tuning for sure. I was able to reproduce Wade's experiment with the SDR, the dongles. This one. Oops.
So this one.
I have to figure out which camera to point. So that works fine on Linux because it's a basic one. And then I got this one, which is a $25 one. And this one just works fine on Windows. And I've placed instructions on the ATV field testing. That seems to be working. Quite well. In fact, my plan is to eventually just put the dongle close to the antenna and just I have this adapters that convert USB to RJ45 and just extend directly from the antenna. But the dongle was working just fine. Oh, just a minute. The dongle was working just fine as
the
I
dongle
was
was working just fine as I was receiving and recording
the transmission here.
The transmission
on
here.
my Windows PC, so that's pretty good.
And
as I keep adding devices here, I've added also a video mixer that allegedly would allow me to change the image between different cameras. But I got the wrong camera.
Oops.
Let's see if this one works. I switched for a black camera, so that didn't work.
That didn't work.
Camera 4.
Camera 4.
Yep, there we go. That's
Yep.
one camera. And then I can switch on the camera. So we'll keep adding.
So we'll keep adding
into the broadcasting capabilities.
But
ready to help anyone that wants to jump on the dongle with your PC or Linux. One or another. I think that's a very functional way of receiving the signal, and I was able to receive here in Clydesdale even without the preamp turned on. So that was good. Back to Dave. Net control. 87
net control. 87 NP here.
Thanks for that, Carlos. I had a great picture and looked at your antenna array. That was fantastic. That picture did come up. Let's go to Ron, KD7QKU, and I need to get an ID here again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. This is Dave, KD7YM. So Ron, KD7QKU, take it away.
D7QKU here. I'm waiting for Carlos to drop his picture and then I'll turn mine on. Here we go. Let's see if it comes through again. I got out a little pad here so I could take some notes, and lo and behold, I sit here and listen and don't write anything down. I did make a note about Richard walking. I think that's really good, Richard, for you to get outside and get fresh air and exercise. That's great. And ordering another race car, my goodness, you didn't. If you said what kind of a car it was, I guess I didn't hear it. But that'll be exciting. You'll have fun going to those races. And then Jim asked about the cat. Well, the cat's old and her kidneys aren't too good, so I take her in twice a week, Mondays and Thursdays, and they do subcutaneous fluid. They put it under the skin, and then it helps her. She doesn't have to drink so much water then. So she's been doing really good since we started doing that. And yeah, I think I heard Dave say he disconnected his hoses outside. I did the same thing the other day. I was bored and I needed to get outside and get some fresh air, so I disconnected my hoses and covered up the faucets. I didn't think it was really going to freeze, but it needs to be done, and I guess if you don't do things when you think about them, that never happens. Yeah, you mentioned going to Costco today to get some food. Well, I've been going over here to Safeway's Deli and getting food. Breakfast and lunch is no problem, but evening dinners is kind of a problem. So tonight I was all set to go get Mongolian beef, and lo and behold, they were just about sold out of everything. So I ended up getting green bean chicken or something. It wasn't too bad. And fried rice, and then we had some other vegetables. So it turned out to be a pretty good dinner. Yeah, and it's really nice to see Carlos and hear about his experimenting. And he had a really nice trip, it sounds like. I've never been to Europe, and I've never been to, Great Britain or anything. So I've seen it on TV, on the travel shows and stuff. But haven't been. I have a friend that's been all over like that. He travels. They were just in Spain not too long ago, and then they were over in London, and then they were home. I don't know where they're going next. I think he's been all over the world. But anyway, it's fun when you have the money and you can afford to travel. All right, so that's enough out of me. I guess it's nice to see everybody tonight. I'll go back to net control. This is KD7QKU.
KD7QKU. Let's go to Lee in Port Angeles in 7KC.
Okay, very good. Lee here in Port Angeles in 7KC. Listen, by the time Ron turned his transmitter on, until he showed up here on YouTube was 1 minute 45 seconds. So just under 2 minutes. Now that's really quite a latency period. It makes me wonder where the packets go. You know? And you know, I've got all kinds of bandwidth here. It's not an issue.
Let's see. Yeah, I was going to say the same with Richard about that's really good about getting out walking, and I can appreciate how some days you just don't feel like doing it, and so good for you for keeping on top of that. That's going to help. That's going to help a lot. Let's see, Jim, the good receive signals. That's I don't know why I made a note of that, but I know you talked about it, and you were looking to get a picture of that. Yeah, I remember seeing that picture, and it looked really good. And I don't know why else I wrote that note. Sorry. James, yes, the dongle is a huge step forward. But I did want to, in case anyone's listening that doesn't have this information, it's not 4 figures just to receive. It's about $170 for the receiver if you buy the box. The transmit is the expensive part if you're going to go with the box, and that's $400 for the transmitter. I mean, of course, the dongle is a huge savings even over the 170, but I just wanted to get the numbers right. And I don't have the number in front of me, but the big one for the transmitting is the amplifier, which you would need if you're using a dongle to transmit anyway, unless you were really close to the repeater. But anyway, yeah, it's a huge jump. Yeah, Ron, give my best to Joanne. Really sorry that she's going through all of this, and you know, just wish her a speedy recovery. I thought I had something else too, but that's the end of my notes. Oh, sharing the screen. Richard, your share screen did work. It was my fault. I didn't. Things don't work the same in Discord that it will automatically pop up the share screen. I needed to make that show up. So give it another try, and I'll help you out there. Okay, back to net, K9PQ.
K9PQ, Bob, thanks for that. And it's time for another ID. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. Again, if you wish to contact our net on the 08 machine, 147.08, you will need a tone of 103.5. To participate in this net, again, you need a tone of 103.5. Again, I'll pause in case anybody wishes to join the net again. This is Dave, KD7CYM. Hearing none, again, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. Let's go to Richard, K7ITX in Phoenix.
All right, well, I got confused for a second. Well, I'm trying to share again, so I don't know, Bob, if this is making any sense. It says, choose what to share with Discord.com. The site will be able to see the contents of your screen. And so I got chrome tab. So I don't know. If you're, yeah, I just don't see it coming across on YouTube. Maybe it doesn't, or does, or. But anyway, or you can look for yourself. The kind of car I'm talking about is it's a DTM series. If you go online and look up DTM sports cars, you'll see it, and they're more in line with the 24 hours of Le Mans GT endurance type car. So I'm really excited. Now it's a 2001. So this would not be in the vintage. Well, I don't know. Maybe it would. It might be old enough, and I think might be a new enough series where they might have a group for this kind of car. But I guess it's real popular in Europe. So anyway, so I don't know. Yeah, that's really great. The Joanne is on the mend. Let's see, Pippa, our rat terrier, got something in her eyes, and so that's kind of been a hassle. She had, we had to go to the vet, and that's never any fun. So, the pocketbook's a little bit lighter, and now Debbie gets to do a wrestling match, putting eye drops in Pippa's eyes, one at a time, and it is quite a wrestling match. So I don't know. I'm looking for sunny weather for the next, month, couple months. I'm really in heaven right now. My house up in Seattle is well taken care of, or Kent, for that matter, and I'm just really pleased about my particular situation. Not that I'm gloating or anything, but I've got my suffering to prove for it. So, and my brother-in-law. And my brother-in-law's been here this week. We've been playing cards, and he and his wife from their condo, they're in the South Mountain area of Phoenix, and they went hiking up, they spent, pretty much all day hiking up to these stone, these prehistoric stone hutches and these prehistoric hieroglyphs on the wall. It was pretty incredible. It was pretty grueling to get there from what I heard, but I'm glad they made it worth his while. I'm happy they came down last minute because their other vacation plans to San Diego got screwed up, so they decided, well, why don't I go see my sister? And I'm just so happy that he's been able to have a lot of fun doing other things just instead of just with us, where I'm tied up quite a bit of the time in different sorts of procedures, things of that nature. But so it's been go. Might not sound like it. I guess I'm kind of tired, but no, I'm having a blast. So with that, K7ITX, back to net control.
K7ITX, let's go to Wade, W7ITL in Tacoma.
see if I can get in here. Oh, there I am. Yeah, I'm trying to troubleshoot a bandwidth issue at the mountain. The bandwidth up there is just not that great. So it might get a little bit better. We're disconnecting our remote control sessions with the repeaters so that we can try to limit the bandwidth that's going in and out of the site. Right now, there's a stream going from Bob's house to the repeater, and then there's a stream going to YouTube, and there's a stream going to BATC. So all that bandwidth going out is just saturating the link. So I'm trying to figure out a way we can get that down a little bit. Maybe I can reduce the bit rate of the streams going out. But that's about what I'm working on right now. I'm stoked that we're getting pretty far on all our accomplishments here with the repeater and DATV. So don't have a lot more for this round for myself. Kind of want to see what what Richard's got going on with his car. So maybe on his next round he can try to send that again. I think we lost your video too, Richard. So you might need to reconnect Discord. Yeah, there's a button we have to click on our end to get your stream, your screen to show up. So on the next round, if you still got time, we'll try to watch your video or your picture you wanted to show. All right, well that's it. I will turn it back to Ned.
ITL, Wade, thanks for that. Get another ID here again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. So let's go to Jim, N7QO in Covington.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Jim, thank you for mentioning the cell phone Wi-Fi. Yeah, several of my neighbors are doing that. I've decided I need new cell phone service, and besides that, our cell phones are a little on the antique side as well, so we need to update those. But I'm going to try a different service. It's just not at the top of the priority list right now. We wanted a hardline phone so that in case the power goes down, we could have communications. Because when the power goes down here, apparently the Comcast has some sort of UPS in line, but it only lasts for about 2.5 hours. So I've got a generator at the house, but after about 2.5 hours, my cable goes out, which is cable television, and it's also my source for Wi-Fi. So that's why we have a landline at the house that'll keep working. Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. Maybe I should look into that to extend the useful life of our ancient phones for a while longer. Carlos, sounds like you had some fun. Don't know if that was associated with work or not. It's always better to travel when your employer pays the bill, but either way, it's fun. Missed the rains in Spain, which fall mainly in the plains. If that's the way the saying goes, don't remember. Ron, yeah, thanks for mentioning Lily. I know she's getting older. Kidney problems. We're all getting older. Probably we might all have the same problem eventually. And Dick, it sounds like you're really enthusiastic about the sports cars once again here. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that works out well for you. For where was it? Sonoma, I think you mentioned. Keep walking. Doctor's orders. Back to you, Dave, N7QO.
QO, thanks for that. Let's go to James, WU 7th Inn in Northeast Bellevue.
Dave, WW7ATS here. Yeah, Carlos, I'm glad you missed the floods in Spain. I didn't get. I mean, people don't realize how big the Iberian Peninsula is if they've never been there. But so I don't know what part flooded, but there must be a lot of politics involved with that disaster management, because I saw a soundbite on the news, something about everybody was throwing mud at the king, which that sounds very non-Spanish to me. So someone must have been kind of upset. He visited some flooded area, and I also understand there were a lot of casualties, a lot of human damage in that as well. So I don't know how that happened. One thing I do really enjoy about this new digital format that we are moving forward on is you've got a pretty accurate clock, I think, on all these transmitters. So when I look at it on the streaming, the WW7ATS streaming site, which I put that link in the chat section, you can just look at what time it really is on your cell phone, which is as accurate as WWV, maybe more so, I don't know. But look at that time and then snap your eyes over to whatever the transmit signal is and know exactly what the delay is. Now, what I found interesting is Lee's delay was significant, but then when Bob got on, the delay was something like 6 seconds. So that I found interesting. We'll have to start figuring out, keep track of this, and try to figure out why one way is one and the other way is the other, because it shouldn't be any different, I wouldn't think. Thank you for the correction there on the figures. Yes, the receiving the signal is very cheap with the dongle and the Unix patch, Linux patch, but it's still our transmit is the challenge. Now we have to figure out a cheap way to transmit. Bob, as you know, I've always figured plus or minus $1 million, close enough, as long as it all comes out the end. That was my attitude when I was chief accountant at Enron. Worked well. So anyway, yeah, but you are correct. It's the receive side that's inexpensive. The transmit side is the more expensive side. I don't think it's going to come around to me again. I see we just have about 5 minutes left. I just want to say, Wade, thank you again. I did get your text today. I spent my entire day waiting for a CenturyLink repair tech who never arrived. And wow, CenturyLink does have, you talk about systems that are not playing well with each other. I talked to the lady. They have one ticket number for me on the phone. Then on my phone, I got a text message saying, if you want to find out where your technician is, just click on this link. They give me a different ticket number, and when I looked at it again, because it was getting kind of late in the afternoon, and they were supposed to be here at 2:30, I punched that, and it pops up with the ominous statement, missed, M-I-S-S-E-D, and a also equally ominous pink circle with a big red X in it, as opposed to a happy green circle with a checkbox. So I don't know what missed means, like I missed my lunch break, so I'm not going to fix this one. I don't know what that means, but can't be good. So that's where I spent I did get a lot of done at my desk, but I was kind of trapped here waiting for the tech who never arrived. So anyway, that's what I did with my day. Wade, we'll get together, and I want to talk more about your texts. Tomorrow is a pretty busy day, but Friday is not, and maybe we can connect then. This is WU7N in Northeast Bellevue with the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. Let's turn it back to our net control. Dave, KD7ZYM.
Dave, KD7ZYM here. I'll turn on a transmitter. Transmitter's on. And it's really kind of interesting seeing the overall pictures that are coming in on this. This is a great medium with digital TV. Certainly enjoying that. And to get back to Ron, I wish his bride, Joanne, gets well rather fast and recovering from the implant that she had done just recently. So that's pretty good. Then getting up to Richard, getting up and hobbling along sounds like a lot of fun. So I hope you'll enjoy that going for a walk. But I don't think that counts if that new Mercedes comes in and you're behind the wheel on it going around the track. I don't think that counts as exercise. But just, I say that would be fun. That would be more than it. But anyway, just being there to see it is probably going to be pretty exciting with a Mercedes. Wow, first-class operation. So that's what's going on. And gosh, Carlos, it's great seeing you on the air. And we did get a picture of your antenna situation. It looked kind of interesting. I don't know, maybe you do some satellite communications with that gear. You might be able to tell us a little more about that. But that's about it. This is Dave, KD7ZYM. So let's go to Carlos for a final 87NP.
All right, 87NP back. Let me see if I can go and see myself in the repeater.
Sure.
Let's see if Richard sees the picture that the repeater is sending on the streaming. We have to wait. But hopefully this is the DTM car that Richard was mentioning.
It was mentioned.
I think now I've got it figured out. How this thing switches from one camera to another. So I'm back. So going here to my list. I confirm the employer was paying for the trip, so that's always a good approach. It was 10 flights in 2 weeks, so that was a lot. But I was able to stay away from COVID, which was a major record with all this travel. So that's pretty good. And regarding timing, kind of capturing timing, that's a good idea about inserting even on the transmission. So I'll probably, I have a